I ruined 7 T-bone steaks before I realized how I was cooking them all wrong. See, most people think a T-bone is just one big steak, but it's actually 2 completely different steaks attached to the same bone. And they cook at totally 2 different rates. New York strip side needs more heat and time, while the filet side cooks way faster. Ignore this and you'll end up like me. I remember this one time, I served my brother a $35 steak, so tough he asked for A1 sauce. I was so embarrassed. I wanted to hide under the table. But once I figured out how to cook a medium rare T-bone steak by treating it like 2 separate steaks, everything changed. I now get absolutely perfect results, and you can too. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what I learned, including the 3 mistakes that cost me over $200 in wasted meat. Let's start with why most people struggle with how to cook a medium rare T-bone steak. Here's what nobody tells you. T-bone isn't just one steak, it's actually 2 completely different steaks. And they're connected by 1 bone. And they cook at totally different speeds. On this side, you've got your strip steak. It's denser, meatier, can handle more heat. But on this side, you've got your filet, also called the filet mignon. And this thing is delicate. It cooks faster and can turn into a hockey puck if you're not careful. The New York strip needs more time and heat to get that beautiful crust and reach medium rare status, but the filet, it's already heading towards medium rare while the strip is still getting warmed up. And that bone in the middle acts like a heat conductor, which makes everything more complicated. This is why you can't treat a T-bone like any regular steak. Most people throw it on high heat and hope for the best, but you end up with one side overcooked and the other side underdone. So now you understand why getting perfect medium rare on both sides is actually a real challenge that most cooking videos completely ignore. But don't worry, I'll show you how to fix it. Let's talk about seasoning, because this is where I made my first major flop. I used to think more was better. Garlic powder, onion powder, paprika, you name it, I added it on there. But when that hits high heat, it burns and it turns bitter. I'm talking about a steak that looked like a charcoal briquette, burnt, bitter, and completely inedible. Now that disaster taught me to keep it simple and do it right. First thing that you want to do is pat your steak completely dry. Any moisture on the surface will prevent a good sear. Then I go with a little kosher salt and freshly cracked black pepper. That's it for now. Don't be shy with the salt. This is a thick cut, so it needs plenty of seasoning. I put a good coating on all sides. The salt will draw out the moisture at first, then it gets reabsorbed back into the meat. Here's what you need to do. Let this sit at room temperature for at least 30 minutes. Let the seasoning work its way in and brings the steak closer to room temperature so it cooks more evenly. Most people skip this step and they throw a cold steak onto the high heat. And that's how you get an overcooked outside and a raw inside. With proper seasoning and resting, you're setting yourself up for even cooking and flavors that actually make the steak better instead of covering it up. Now, let's talk about heat management. This is where I had my biggest learning curve. You've got 2 good options: a cast iron pan or a grill. And let me walk you through both, including the mistake that cost me a $30 steak. Here's what I used to do wrong. I put the steak in a cold, barely warm pan. It would heat up as I cooked. And that was a big mistake. You end up with this gray steamed appearance instead of a proper sear. It looks sad and it tastes even worse. Here's what you need to do. Preheat that cast iron until it's smoking hot. We're talking about 400 to 450 degrees surface temp. Add a high heat oil like avocado oil and listen to that aggressive sizzle. When the steak hits the pan, now here's the T-bone specific technique that you need to know. Start with the fat cap. See that little edge there? You want to render this first, about 2 to 3 minutes, holding that steak with some tongs. This gives you some extra fat to cook in and prevents the fat from being too chewy. Then lay it down with the strip side towards the hottest part of your pan. Remember, the strip needs more heat than the filet. Sear for about 3 to 4 minutes without moving it. For the grilled method, same principles apply. Get one side screaming hot for searing, keep the other side cooler for finishing. My biggest mistake was putting the T-bone right over the hottest part of the grill for the entire cook. I ended up with a filet that was a hockey puck while the strip was still trying to catch up. It was a complete waste of money. And it doesn't matter if you're using a cast iron pan or the grill. You need controlled heat zones. Hot sear first, then move to indirect heat to finish evenly. Your steak is done cooking. And here's where most people mess it up. They cut into it right away because they're excited to see how it turned out. I used to be that guy who cuts into their steak right away too because I was excited to see how it turned out. That was another big mistake. All of those juices that should stay in the meat are now on your cutting board. That flavor and moisture is walking away from your dinner right now. Here's what you need to do instead. Slice your steak for 8 to 10 minutes under some loose foil. I know it's hard to wait, but those emulsifiers need time to relax and pull those juices back in. The internal temperature will actually rise probably about 5 to 10 degrees during this resting period, which helps you hit that perfect medium rare. When it's time to carve, don't just hack into it. T-bone needs a plan. You want to run your knife along the bone to separate the strip and the fillet from the bone. Then slice each section against the grain. The strip goes in one direction and the fillet in another. You should have clean slices that are juicy and each piece showing that perfect medium rare color. Proper resting and slicing keeps your steak juicy and makes it look like something from a real steakhouse. Here's my final and most important tip for how to cook a medium rare T-bone steak. Stop guessing about doneness. Internal temperature is everything. What was my biggest failure? It was that I thought I could tell the doneness by touch or by timing. That was a reality check, and I ended up with a fillet that was completely overcooked while the strip was still underdone. It was like eating two different meals, and neither one was good. Here's what you need to know. You want to pull the steak at about 115 to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. That's going to be your internal temperature. But, and this is important, you need to check both sections. Again, they cook differently. Put your probe into the thickest part of the strip, away from the bone, then check the fillet section. The strip might be at 118, but the fillet could be right around 125. When the strip hits 115 to 118, move to indirect heat or turn down the temperature to let everything evenly cook. After resting, you'll hit that perfect 125 to 130 for medium rare. And just take a look at that. Consistent medium rare from edge to edge on both the strip and the fillet. That's what we're after. With proper temperature monitoring on both sections, you get perfect medium rare every time. No more guesswork and no more wasting money. And by the way, if you're new to backyard barbecue and need a little help with cooking times and temperatures, I have a free guide for you. It covers everything from meats to veggies, and it's perfect for getting started. It makes everything super simple for you. All you gotta do is just comment 100 down below and I'll send it your way. So there you have it, my complete guide on how to cook a medium rare T-bone steak, including all my fixes and all my flops. So you don't have to learn the expensive way like I did. But here's something interesting. What if I told you there's another steak cut that's actually easier to master than a T-bone? Well, that's exactly what I cover in this video right here. So check it out now, and I'll show you the steak that I always reach for and how to cook it with zero stress. Go ahead, click on it now, and I'll see you there.